stay in now.
All right. Welcome to the first panel discussion of our Congress. Today we're going to be focusing specifically on the subject of Qigong.
I can't hear you, Lama. We can't hear you.
Okay,
good.
Welcome to the first panel discussion of our Congress. Today we're going to be... All right. So something is working.
If everyone would mute except who is speaking, we won't get the echo.
Well, that's a good idea. Thank you, Marcia. All right, so let's try it again. This is Lama Tantrapa, the host of our Congress, and I want to thank you for joining us today for the panel discussion on Qigong. Obviously, this is a new adventure for everyone, for most of us at least, and we do experience sometimes delays a little bit, but we also experience tremendous amount of energy connection with everyone who participates in this Congress. So I want to thank you for being an important part of our Congress, an amazing collection of enthusiasts and practitioners and experts in Qigong, Tai Chi, Oriental medicine, and other related disciplines. Today, we feature several masters and experts, and we also invited several keynote presenters to participate as well. So I believe that we have Dr. Gay Hendricks. I believe we have Dr. Effie Chow. I believe we have Dr. Simeon Roger, Mingtong Gu, Jeff Primack, Kathy Mu, Dr. Sonia Gamey, and please forgive me for not mentioning your name if I didn't mention it. There are also several keynote presenters who were presenting yesterday, Dr. Melinda Connor, Dr. Shin Lin, and perhaps a few other presenters will join us today as well. So I just want to welcome you all and say thank you for taking the time to participate in this amazing opportunity to collaborate, to exchange ideas. And also we are giving our VIP participants an opportunity to chime in and say thank you for the presenters, ask questions, or make some additional comments about whatever they learn.
Hold on a second.
So, on this note, let me just bring some of the subjects that I wanted to discuss and then open up the possibility to go over any other subjects that you might find interesting. The study of energy arts includes research, and there are several renowned researchers among us in this esteemed group. For example, Dr. Shin Lin has been doing a lot of research at the University of California at Irvine and delivered an amazing keynote presentation. Thank you so much, Dr. Shin Lin. That was a wonderful presentation that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I thought that everybody would do too. And perhaps, if you don't mind, you can kick off our exploration of research on the subject of Qigong, energy arts, and I understand you also study mind-body medicine or mind-body therapies. Would you tell us a bit more about it? You probably need to unmute yourself.
Right. Hear me?
Yes.
So in addition to what I spoke about yesterday, our laboratory specializes in measurement of body energy, measurable as heat, light, and electricity, following mind-body practices like Tai Chi, Qigong, and also treatment with traditional Chinese medicine. And the brief conclusion is that following practice of, let's say, 20 minutes of Tai Chi there's a measurable increase in heat, of course, infrared camera with light, biophoton emission, and electricity measured as DC electric field, electrical conductance around the body measured at acupuncture points, and also emission of electrons measured with digital Kirlian photography. And we found that these practices will elevate these types of measurements. And also, we use cell cultures so that we get away from the placebo effect, which is very, very strong. And we looked at the effect of a DC electric field from a battery that's at the level of the human physiological level, and found that the DC electric field applied to the cells in culture, grown on a glass plate, can be driven to go left or go right, fast and slow, depending on the dosage we put on them. This is relevant to some of the studies on other studies on cell cultures and perhaps on energy healing as well.
Fantastic. Well, that is an important research. And when it comes to the practice of Qigong as opposed to Tai Chi, how do you tell apart when the person does Tai Chi and when the person does Qigong?
I personally am trained in all 5 schools of Tai Chi, but particularly in Chan style Tai Chi. So as you know, Chan style Tai Chi is the true embodiment of the yin and the yang. It has fast movements and slow movements, soft movements, and hard movements. So we divide the soft movements from the hard movements and compare them against Qigong with more like the soft movements. And as I spoke about yesterday, particularly the hard and fast movements of Chan style Tai Chi can give us a lot of benefits that we also would get from physical exercises, enhancing cardiovascular system, muscle, bones, joints, and so forth. And interestingly, that sort of Tai Chi would not be as effective in increasing body energy measured as heat, light, and electricity. The slow types of Tai Chi movements would be more effective. So we did comparison studies on that.
Very good. Well, that is wonderful. There are several other researchers and explorers of different aspects of energy medicine, energy arts here among us. I wonder if you can potentially share with us a little bit about your studies, Melinda, if you don't mind.
So one of the things that we've done over the last couple of years is that our lab, we've actually continued the work that Dr. Shinlin has been doing at UC Irvine. And we looked specifically at Qigong practitioners and looked at emitted Qi and the amount of voltage that was coming out, the type of wave that was coming out, whether or not emitted Qi could affect the pH of water and therefore affect the pH of blood. We looked at whether or not a Qigong practitioner could produce physiological changes as measured by either a biofield imager, a biowell, or a GDV device. And we found that, in fact, in less than 10 minutes, we could see physiological changes that were produced by emitted Qi that was done by Qigong practitioners. In addition, we found that there were oscillatory effects. And one of the cool things is Dr. Shinlin and I have both done repeated trials looking at various kinds of oscillatory effects. And one of the fascinating things we found was that the devices would cancel out a whole chunk of the data when you link them up to computers of various kinds. So it was very
Oh, I think
Okay.
we got you muted somehow.
All
Sorry.
right, there we go. It's shifted. We found that practitioners, when they were working in high environments in terms of electromagnetic noise, the data would get washed out. And it made it a very interesting process to try and test practitioners. Either having a Faraday cage was useful, having any kind of shielded room, EMF shielded room, separate from a Faraday cage, depending on the frequency range you were looking at, and being in a physical environment that was not as noisy energetically made a huge difference.
Interesting. So noise actually affects us adversely. And did I get it right? Is it any kind of noise, or is it some kind of specific noise like industrial noise or repetitive vibration or something else that has the most deleterious effect? What did you find out?
Actually, I would focus on the work that Dr. Beverly Rubik has been doing, looking at 5G, where she found that platelets end up sticking together to the point that they can't enter capillaries. And that would be the most significant of the noise. Basically, we just simply can't measure it because it gets canceled out.
I see. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing this. This is a wonderful bit of information. And one of the things that I wanted to ask those of you who are practitioners or who are researchers is to also speak up. If you have done some research, if you have done some studies that you would like to share today in our panel, that would be an excellent way to connect with fellow researchers and also with the audience who are eagerly awaiting the results of your research. Well, I know that Dr. Effie Chow joined us today. I don't know if she wants to speak, but just want to thank Dr. Effie Chow for being the chairperson of our Congress and for organizing these amazing events for many decades. So thank you so much, Dr. Chow. It's been such a pleasure to be working with you. And I also know that there is an amazing expert in personal development among us here, Dr. Gay Hendricks. And if you don't mind, Dr. Gay Hendricks, please feel free to unmute yourself if you feel like you would like to share some of your observations or wishes for us for the new year or whatever you have to say.
Well, the first thing I really want to say is that I think the subject we're talking about here, no matter which direction you come at it with, is crucially important, not only for health, but also for the well-being of society. And the reason is that what all of you are teaching in one way or the other is a process of embodiment, of coming into your body and using your body's natural resources and trusting your body's natural resources. And we're going through a period of evolution, I think, where wise people such as yourself are teaching people to get more embodied, to get more familiar with their energy system and more familiar with the sensations and various emanations of the body. And then you have a whole other lot of people who are trying to talk people out of their bodies. And so the forces of advertising, for example, are a lot about talking you out of your body, so you don't actually consult your actual body experience. And so do a lot of politicians want to lift us out of our bodies so we can't recognize the truth anymore, what's true and what's not true. And so I think that the general subject we're talking about is crucially important for the evolution of humanity in general. And it's also crucially important for human beings on a personal level, because ultimately, I think a lot of healing has to do with getting into alignment with yourself. that there are a lot of forces that knock us out of alignment with ourselves. But what we need to do is recognize when we're getting out of alignment with ourselves, recognize the symptoms of it, and learn ways of shifting back, because we're not all going to stay embodied and enlightened all the time. In other words, the drift is important to calculate in, because we're all going to drift off and need a way to come back home again. In my seminars, I often use the illustration of an automatic pilot on an airplane. And I live out in California, so let's say I'm going to fly to New York. Well, the automatic pilot sets off for New York, and it has its beam it's locked in on, but the plane drifts off, and then it says, okay, we're drifting off, let's recorrect. And then it gets back on track again, and then it's drifting off again. It says, okay, I drifted off, let's recorrect. And so hundreds, probably thousands of different things in an airplane are taking that measurement constantly, but it's about integrity. It's about, am I connected up to the integrity of the path that I'm on? So what I'm getting at is that if you take an airplane from LA to New York, it gets to New York by being wrong 99% of the time, because it has the willingness to recorrect and click back in and come back home. That's why it's so important to embody an attitude of constant learning, that we're never there. You know, around here, we use an openness to learning scale. When executives come in and people come in, we have them rate themselves on a 20-point scale of how open they are to learning. And I can just give you a couple of the points right now. Like, when you receive feedback, do you go into open body language, or do you go into closed body language? Things like that, very simple little things like that. And what we found, as people get further along in the work, they get more and more open to learning, so that it doesn't require big sledgehammer blows from the universe to get the message to us. I always say the universe is happy to tickle us with a feather to teach us, or it's also just as happy to bang us over the head with a mallet if we're not paying attention. And I mastered the mallet approach to learning early on in my life, but fortunately woke up in time to now let myself be tickled by the universe rather than smacked repeatedly about the head and shoulders. So it has a lot to do with our openness to learning. And it has a lot to do with how willing we are to occupy our bodies. So I appreciate all the different ways people come at it. My wife, for example, she likes acupuncture. She goes to an acupuncturist. Here we teach, we don't teach puncture, we teach breath, and we teach movement, and we teach other kinds of ways to get embodied. But I think in one way or the other, they're all the same, because they're about coming back in and realigning with our forces. And the good thing about Qigong and acupuncture and Oriental medicine and things like that is that you've identified other places that we get out of alignment, you know, like the energy system. And so subtler ways that we get out of alignment, sometimes subtler means are required to correct them. So I want to lead the cheer as we go into this new year for embodiment. Imagine what it would be like if the President of the United States was required to get a massage and take a Qigong class every week and get embodied. I think there'd be a lot less wars in the world and things like that, the more that people, or even if the presidents of all of our countries were required to get a total body massage every week, I think that would do more for world peace than $1 billion trillion Pentagon budget. So that's my plug for enlightenment via the body this year.
Fantastic. Well, I would definitely encourage all the presidents and all the politicians and all the people who have significant influence in the world to actually get more embodiment practices under their belts. So I totally agree with you, Dr. Hendricks, that it's an incredible necessity, not just a luxury to receive massage, but actually it's a necessity, because it's not just for the sake of the person receiving massage, but also for the sake of the rest of the society and all of us. So I definitely appreciate you pointing it out. And also I appreciate you pointing it out that the breathing practices, the embodiment practices, the alignment, awareness, require some personal attention and involvement. It's not just going to happen to us because we have all influences from other sources that basically mess up our alignments. Or as I put it, there must be a reason why we are out of alignment. If we just try to straighten ourselves up, but we don't address the root causes of misalignment, we'll backslide into misalignment as soon as we stop paying attention to the alignment. You can straighten the person up on the massage table, but as soon as they get up and start walking, if they move in a disharmonious manner, if they have a disharmonious state of mind that reflects or manifests in a pattern of certain holding patterns of tension in the body, that basically is the waste of a massage session. They need to learn how to pay attention to themselves and resolve the subconscious strategies for struggling against the flow. And that's basically what I understand the causes for misalignment are. And so as Qigong practitioners and teachers, we actually learn how to identify what are the causes of each particular type of misalignment and how we can address them in a way that it would be beneficial and doable so the person can actually do it to themselves rather than rely on somebody fixing them. So thank you.
I very much agree because, and that speaks to something that I want to highlight also, which is the importance of having daily practice, some kind of daily disciplines you do. Nobody likes the word discipline, but in a way, a lot of life involves doing good things for yourself over and over and over again, and gradually cultivating a larger space in your body for feeling good and acting effectively at all times. I learned to meditate in 1972, and it made such an impression on me that I haven't missed a day since. So I'm coming up on a 50th anniversary of meditating every day. And that gives me so much. And I also do a lot of breath work every day, our own form of breath work that we teach. And giving your body and mind a place to come home to every day is so important because, as you say, life has a way of kind of knocking us out of alignment, various forces in life. Arguments can do that.
For 45 minutes to exit 358.
A spell of bad weather, low pressure weather can make some people depressed. And so it's important, I think, for us to have a place to come back home to every day.
Definitely. Yes. That's one of the principles of embodiment. That we come back home into our body every day. Or else would we go home? Excellent. I want to also invite our other masters and experts that are featured today to speak up. Perhaps Master Ming Gu, if you don't mind me putting on the spot, I invite you to unmute yourself and share what you have to share about your studies, and also if you have anything that you would particularly like to bring up today in our discussion.
Thank you. Thank you. So appreciate this opportunity being together in the beginning of the new year, the beginning of New Year. So happy New Year to everyone, and really allowing the new energy, new alignment, the new connection, new vision, really move forward in our life. I think it's really the best time to do this. And really want to appreciate Dr. Hendrik's message. It's the same message I've been discovering and sharing passionately. The most important thing we can do in the time of challenges, in time of chaos, in time of uncertainty, everything happening in our personal life, in our collective life, in the world, is coming back home to this body. And this body is a home. We've been missing this home for too long in the entire humanity, especially in the new way of life, in the modern culture, everything moves fast and busy, technology, and all the advertisement, all the, the news, all the agenda is getting outside of our body, this empowering ourselves. So until really we can come back to this body again, we cannot expecting substantial change. Yeah. Cannot really have a fulfilling life. Yeah. So that is the message being so clear, so clear. And but especially reflecting on 2020, I feel personally one of the gifts is allow me spending more time in my body. More than any time in my life. Oh my God. It's like that's the most precious gift. I feel so good about it. And this is like the best gift I give to myself. And that's the best gift I want to, you to give to yourself. Yeah. Because no one can do that job for you. No matter, whatever problem you're addressing, story of past, the news of happening right now, and the disease, whatever happening, even the loss of life, all the emotional anxiety, depression, so on. Overall, is a stress we're feeling, in this body, in this energy system. But no one can help you except yourself. You have to take care of your stress. No medication can take away your stress. No supplement can take away your stress. No authority can take away your stress, can even add in more stress. No spouse can take away your stress. It's really the internal work. It is the internal work. So when we're speaking of, internal art, discovering the spiritual dimension, the inner dimension of essence, so on, it's inside job. It's in your body, actually. It is in your body. That is like awakening call. Not to mention nowadays, the technology is driving us far, far away from the body, to the computer, to the information, to the virtual world, to the whatever excitement, artificial intelligence. It's like the future is we have facing two choices. One is this embodied humanity, another is robotic virtual reality. And I'm just like saddened every day I see my kids is moving towards that reality, the virtual reality. And instead of heaven on earth, instead of the real things, as humanity. So I feel, everything we're doing is important, but most important thing is really coming back to this body, really discovering the new home inside of us, discovering the new possibility, the true vision of heaven on earth, discovering our essence as the embodiment, the union of heaven and earth. So that's what I want to share. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, that is a really important message. I really appreciate you, Tong. It's something that you mentioned, the year 2020 challenged us with. And as we know, in Chinese language, as far as I understand at least, the character for a crisis consists of two components, a danger and an opportunity. And that's what Dr. Effie Chow mentioned during her keynote presentation. This is something that we constantly have to remind ourselves about. One of the things that I know about one of our presenters is that she is an expert in identifying exactly that. Master Kathy Mu is an expert on thriving. And I wanted to put you on the spot, Kathy, if you don't mind, and ask you to share with us a bit about your way of living your life in a thriving state. And you created recently the Thriving Foundation. So that's very exciting because you're not just thriving by yourself, you're helping your community thrive.
Hi, Lama. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Lama, for organizing this very important Congress. And thank you, everyone, for your amazing contribution. I'm so honored to be here with you virtually, hopefully in person very soon. Yes, I have been studying Qigong since I was 6 when my mom survived cancer with the help of Qigong. And I always wanted to share this beautiful gift with people from other countries because I knew there were a lot of brilliant Qigong masters in China, but based on movies I saw, most people just die from cancer without even trying alternative healing. And somehow I was brought to the USA without my own intention or planning, seemingly for academic research and study, but I ended up to staying here, and later became a Qigong master myself. And I realized my main career is a financial career. I'm a CPA and a financial advisor. Have been doing really well in my field. And I noticed that Qigong is not just limited to well-being and traditional healing. It applies to everything in life. So we can really use this powerful practices. Actually, it's not just one practice, right? So there are many Qigong practices targeting different areas of your life and different parts of your body even, to become vibrantly healthy and very happy for no particular reason. And on top of that, because of my financial background, I was initially experimenting on the work of Qi on money energy, just because I have that financial expertise, and I assume I knew a little bit more than most people in the financial field. And the end result is, by working on with energy on your finances, on your prosperity and abundance issues, your entire life become so much better without a lot of efforts, including financially. We always say Qigong helps us physically, mentally, energetically, spiritually, and I like to add that financially, your life can be much better by practicing Qigong and knowing how to apply the principles of abundance, the money energy, to your entire life, not just in one area. Like after we get sick, that was what happened to my mom. She waited until she was about to die. That she tried everything with medical treatments, and then she was told, "Sorry, you have 3 months to live. Take care of your affairs." And she said, "That's not acceptable. I have a 6-year-old. Why would God let me die when I have such a big responsibility?" And that also shows the power of the mind. And then she found this brilliant Qigong master who taught her how to heal herself. And I was so inspired by the whole experience. And I knew my mission was on top of my main career with, academic studying. I wanted to share this gift with as many people as I can reach out to. Now here we are, we have students from all over the globe with the help of the internet, with online courses, with remote healing. I do remote healing as well, which can reach people in any country in the on the planet. And I'm a big believer in empowering people and in teaching them how to self-empower rather than to rely on a master for the transmission. But I do the transmission for the remote healing in addition to teaching. So eventually the goal is for everybody to be able to thrive in any circumstances independently. But it's wonderful to be together, to support each other. I so appreciate, being together with you all to just exchange ideas and share experiences and learn from each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy. It's a brilliant message. And also, it's so important to remember that we need to put food on the table. We need to have a roof over our head. It's hard to thrive if you are struggling financially. If we are not doing well financially or in other aspects of our lives, well, there is some imbalance. So basically, we look at our lives and assess, well, how much of a balance do we experience in terms of different aspects of life, be that health or relationships or career and finances and personal development and spiritual life and social life. How well do we feel like we are in balance? And if there is, if we are out of balance in one way or another, well, that's an invitation to rebalance. And that's something that we'll definitely continue doing this year, and hopefully with your help, Kathy, because I know that you have a tremendous wealth of knowledge and expertise that you can share. So that's something that we definitely want to thank you so much for sharing with us. And I also want to give a shout out to my old friend, Jeff Primack, who's also with us today. And I would love to ask you to unmute yourself, Jeff, and say hi and share with us what you're experiencing and what you would like us to know about your work.
Well, I want to just say hi to Master Ming Tong. I like his message a lot. I really feel you. I have almost identical report. You know, I have traveled teaching the Qi revolution. Each year, about 3,000 to 5,000 people attend. I never take a single year off from 2005 to March 9th, 2020. And at the last event, I was like, oh my God, this is over. You know, I was like, it's not going to happen again for a while. Spirit, you know, spoke to me and was like, so I had no idea what to do afterwards. I set up Zoom account for the very first time in April, you know, very like new account, you know. I'm teaching outside by the waterfall here. I live above a waterfall in Hawaii. I have a Qigong retreat center here. The Hawaiian government won't let me bring you here, so I can only film myself doing Qigong in these exotic locations. This morning we did strength training. I like to teach people how to do 25 push-ups on one exhale. That's one of my specialties. So I have a fitness emphasis to the Qigong I'm teaching now. I'm teaching people how to open their chakras in my more advanced courses, and we work on seeing the energy. I really like the person who spoke first. He spoke about measuring the Qi. This very fascinating. Humble bow. What's his name, Lama? Can you say it again?
Dr. Shin Lin.
Shin Lin, yes, it's very important work about measuring Qi. For me personally, I try to say something maybe of interest. When I do the 9-breath method, which I've done for 18 years, you know, 5 times a day, I'm addicted to doing it. You can see the Qi visually changes, you know, when you do these breathing techniques. You can sense the vapors in the air. You can see, and if you close your eyes, you know something is emitting out of the body. I mean, you really do. You know, it's a shame that we haven't been able to measure this yet. And so this is very exciting. Really, I'm looking forward to looking at that information. I'm going to be looking at it. If you want to know more about what I do, I'm at Qigong.com. And yes, I did acquire that website through legal means. No one was hurt in obtaining that website, Qigong.com. Yes. Thanks, Lama.
That's important. That's important. And also, it's fascinating because you are not the only proud owner of Qigong.com among our presenters. There are different spellings of the word Qigong, as you all know.
Yes. So it's QI Gong, the one I have. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, QI Gong.
Yes. Mark Johnson and Gary Kleiman are both owners of Qigong, spelled with Chikunng.
Gotcha.
The one without the dash. So it's fascinating. Obviously, it's a a gathering of people who are seriously dedicated to Qigong.
For sure.
Spending money on maintaining the sites like this. And this is something that I really want to express my appreciation to you and to everyone participating here, that dedication is crucial. Without commitment, we can't really achieve much. If something falls on your lap and you just like, oh, okay, well, maybe I will do some Qigong, that is not commitment. It's basically a willy-nilly approach. And we're learning how to develop greater commitment. One of the reasons why I developed a whole new profession of Qigong coaching, to facilitate that commitment, to help people practice no matter what happens in their lives, no matter how distracted they may feel. If they have accountability, they are much more likely to practice whatever style of Qigong they do. So that's basically my contribution to the field, is that I don't even have to push my style. I just simply help people practice the style that they choose to practice, that works for them.
I know that a lot of our instructors have worked with you, and I've seen you at our workshops over the years, and I appreciate all you're doing now with Effie in this Congress. Excellent work, Lama.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
And I want to express my appreciation to everyone here, especially Dr. Chow. Feel free to unmute yourself, Dr. Chow, if you feel so inclined. If you don't feel so inclined, you don't have to. I would love to hear what you have to say about your perspective.
Does she know how to unmute herself?
Well,
Can you unmute her?
if Dr. Chow cannot unmute herself, maybe she doesn't want to. So obviously, we have other presenters that might also speak up and share what they have to share. I think Dr. Nadia Hole is here participating with us, if I'm not mistaken. If so, Nadia, please feel free to unmute yourself and say a few words. I would love to hear what you are experiencing in this new year. Well, apparently Dr. Nadia Hole is not unmuting herself. So let's move on. One of the things that I wanted to dive into today are the questions from the audience. Obviously, the folks are asking questions. For example, one of them, Bob Casey, just asked, Master Gu focus on sound, a lot on sound. Do our masters present also use sound? Further, has Professor Lin done any research in that area? Well, that's the question for Master or Dr. Xin Lin. Dr. Xin Lin, if you are with us today, it's kind of like invoking a spirit. If you are with us today, please speak up and tell us if you've ever done any research on the use of sounds, such as 6 healing sounds or other types of sounds.
I'm afraid we haven't done anything along those lines.
That would be an interesting.
I would love to do a research with you, Dr. Xinling. And lately, we are teaching a lot of sound healing for many reasons. But one of the most important reasons is the sound vibration allow you to access the energy of your 5 organ system more than anything else I know. More than any breathing technique, more than any movement technique, more than any meditation technique. And you're using your own body as instrument, invoking the deeper vibration and then opening energy associating with the 5 organ system. But one of the profound benefits that we think we all can relate to right now is the vibrational sound allow you access the emotional body more directly than any other technique I know. So transforming these emotions from fear to empowerment, from worry to confidence, from anger to courage, from depression, sadness to compassion, and to opening really the energy body in the deeper dimension. And that's something I've been sharing and directly experiencing so much. and especially in last year. So I would love to do any kind of research with our colleagues, our scientists, experts. Yeah.
Thank you. That's a brilliant call to arms, so to speak. Thank you, Mintong.
I do want to share one story because the question is asked. We did a just simple kind of informal experiment. I forgot the device the person brought into a workshop is supposedly based on NASA, technology. So able to kind of measure these biochemical, function in the body, different system, all the 5 organ system, also measuring, some kind of indication correlating to dopamine, for example. So we did a sound healing for the heart. In 5 minutes, you can the dopamine level is double from the baseline. And obviously, to maintain that takes, consistent practice. So one of the things we emphasize in Qigong is practice. That means over the time, you're not only just doing the practice today, you feel better after the practice or during the practice, but how to change in the patterns inside of you. The energy patterns determine your health level, determine your capacity for love, for joy, depend your capacity for compassion, depend your capacity for creativity, including determine your capacity for abundance, including money, as Cassie is emphasizing. So changing these deeper patterns, that's what I think Qigong really contributing to, the ongoing practice contributing to. So when we do the measurement, see the result in one session, which is important, but also measure after a period of time, what is the baseline change? And that is really determining our life quality ongoing basis. That is the sustainable benefit Qigong has. So I'm really excited for any level of more research, more engagement. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Hello, everybody.
Yay, Effie. Long time no see you. So beautiful to see you.
A big hug to everybody. Let's all give each other a virtual hug.
Yeah, let's do this.
Everybody hug yourself and say, I love me.
I love me.
Come on, everybody.
I love me.
And then I love you.
I love you.
Oh, I love everybody here.
I love everybody.
And beyond. And beyond.
And beyond.
That's right. And it's also beyond our planetary universe. It's a whole universe now. We're not talking about just here and we're neighbors and etc. And I want to congratulate everybody on the wonderful work each of you are doing in different pathways. And the thing is, this is a science panel, and I want to speak a little bit about that, okay? Because science does not mean having to gather biomedical results. And that's what we always get trapped into. Oh, it's a triple blind study. I've been research with NIH consultant, National Institutes of Health, for over 37 years. So I know a little bit about research. And I've always debated that we don't have the instrumentation. And also under President Clinton's White House Commission on Complementary Alternative Medicine policies, on all these major policy making committee members, which brought our complementary alternative medicine, Qigong, Tai Chi, TCM, into the system to where it is now. We've got a long ways to go yet, but we've gotten a long ways to go. And all of you have contributed to that because as Lama had said and Jeff said, we've all committed ourselves, and all the speakers have said, we commit our time and our own money, right? How do you commit your own money? Anybody? Go on, put up your hands. Put up your feet too as well, okay? I'm sure it's feet and hands that all of you have sunk yourself in. And the dedication is absolutely phenomenal. And this is why running the World Congress for 20 years we've survived, okay? And surviving even better. And most all of you have been part of the survival, not survival, thriving. We're using the word thriving, right? Is that right? Thriving?
Absolutely. That's the name of the game.
Yes, okay. And so therefore, there are different forms of research. Ground research. That means whatever you're getting, make sure you document it down by case, by case, by case. And it doesn't have to be the gold standard where you have triple, triple proof and all that, okay? And so that's the first thing, because all of you practice and you have cases. And the other thing I say that you need to say the time frame in which people gets results. Now, I can teach people and myself, I can brush away 50-year pain within 5 minutes. Now, do I dare say this? I haven't been daring to say it, but now I'm saying every one of you, if you get results within such a miraculous time, you need to document it, because everybody's afraid to say it because if they'll think I'm loony. They think I'm exaggerating. But if you take good data and say how they were and what you did and what's the time frame, how long they had the problem, how serious the problem, and the time frame that you work with them, what did you do to them? And then the results right away. And if they can videotape, that's even better. Or I always get them to say what it is, So that's one type of research, and that's easy for everybody to do, right? Can you all do that? Hi, can you all do that? Yes? No? Are you all dead? Well, come on, get alive.
We're muted. We've all been muted.
That's okay. You can move and act like this, right? Now, everybody, I never talked about age before, but since I was seriously ill in 2015, I now start off the conference saying, who is older or more mature than 87? Are any of you over 87 years young? Are you Dave Moore? Dave? He put up his hand.
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm 88. So
I'm getting there. I'm getting there right behind you, okay? So usually, and you're the first one, usually whether it's 10,000 people I talk to or 50 people or one person, I always ask this question now. And so nobody says they're older except you, Dave. Now you're the elder to be respected. So
I usually am the old guy.
you're the young guy.
I'm a Tai Chi teacher. I'm also a trained scientist. I have a doctorate in aerospace engineering. But I have learned that the Chinese masters thousands of years ago understood what we in modern science call gravity and all the electromagnetic energy fields around all beings. They understood it and learned how to live with it in harmony. And instead
David, maybe you'd like to speak a little bit more. I want to finish my spiel about the research aspect. Okay, so that's wonderful. And I bow to you. So when I ask that question and nobody says they're older, what I say is, but now you have to do that for Dave. I say, okay, then I'm your elder and you're respected as an elder. So therefore you have to bow to me. So everybody bow to David. Come on, everybody bow to David because he's older than I am. And you have to be good to me. You have to respect me. So you can imagine the crowd, 10,000 people, they're laughing, right? Because this little speck of a woman up there say, you need to bow to me, So a sense of humor is really important. And that's how we survive. Sense of humor, real true sense, and not slapstick type, but real heartfelt sense of humor. That no matter what happens, tragedy, that if you have a sense of humor, It helps you move through. Is that right? How many have experienced that? Not get caught in the mire of the problem. And so, like taking the lotus as an example, it's grown in mud, and it even have maggots in it because we jumped into a pool that we thought was clean, and we had maggots in our mouth and everything. It was late at night in Taiwan. Okay, and then the beautiful lotus comes up, and the lotus flower and the whole lotus plant is very useful, very helpful, right? How many are familiar with it? The lotus root for soup and cooking, and the lotus leaf for making the zhong, you know, the rice, what do you call it? Zhong in Chinese, zhong. Come on, Ming Tong, you know what it is. You know, the rice tamales, right? Yeah. And then
porridge, Dr. Cho. Are you trying to say porridge?
No, poi is made from that purple.
Not poi, porridge. You're trying to say, right, Joe?
Well, whatever.
Yeah. Porridge.
Poi. Okay, that's new to me. But every part of it is used, and the flower is the most fragile. So therefore, don't complain about the background that you have. You know, it doesn't govern whatever your destiny is right now. You have the choice of your own destiny. How many believe that? Anybody? Is this destiny now determined for you? No, you are all brilliant individuals. You were born brilliant. And so therefore, science has only taken all of this and tried to block it into blocks of understandable data. So I respect that, but my comment always when at these high-level policy issues, I said, I don't think we have the right research protocol for researching life. Because in research, we research dead things. And we don't have to kill ourselves to research ourselves to see what gave us life. And this is what research is doing. You research on dead things. And it's beginning to change. Remember, you know, but very slowly. And then also, we don't have the instrumentation to measure qi. How many are agreeing with this? That we need new instruments. Now, the biofeedback, a lot of that is beginning to move. And the EEG, they're beginning. And I think, Shinlin, you use a lot of EEG, right? EKG measurements and et cetera. And you're getting some wonderful data. You folks should get to Shinlin and get some data. He is really phenomenal. And Dr. Melinda Connor, okay, they've got data coming out of the ears. Can you see it? Come on, laugh, people, or make some gesture. Qi is life. It's not deadpan, okay? Just remember this. Qi is life, and with smiles, you can smile at least if you can't do action, okay? And that gets the qi up. So we talk about qi, but do we really live the qi so that your life is animated? And so now the other thing, the protocol and the instrumentation, that's at full. But then the gold standard, where they limit everything, that everything has to be done exactly the same. Well, you know, qi doesn't respond that way. So that means we have to develop protocols, new protocols that and I'm looking towards Melinda and Shin to help us, because they're I don't know some of the others. If you're a scientist, please excuse me, but I know they are great scientists, and they're adjustable, flexible scientists, not the hard line, just boom. Because Dr. Shinlin has one of the biggest energy labs in the whole wide world, because it's the biggest in the USA. Is that right? You with UC Irvine. Hi, Shin. Yes. So anyway, now the other thing is this gold standard, having to have exactly the same, research subjects. You know, and I know, there's nobody exactly the same. Is that right? How many think that everybody is the same? And that's Western medicine said, you have to pick the same type of people. No, there's variance, and you have to consider that. So this is my debate with the high level, research, sanctuary, the temple of research. Is I am the rebel. So be a rebel, you folks. Collect data and say, if you get results right away, be brave and say it. So if enough of us say it, it becomes data. It becomes good data, not just sort of hearsay. And if we all document, then it won't be one person that is said, oh, well, she's exaggerating or she's kind of a bit loony, right? You all face that. So that's why the Congress, for 20 years, we combine people and help people support each other and know that we're there. If you have some problem, just call me, okay? Or email me, that's better. Okay, so research, don't be scared of research. And Colin Melinda, Colin Shin, and who else is a strict researcher here on the panel? Well, Caitlin? Is that Caitlin? Show your face, Caitlin. Come on. Caitlin just getting her doctorate from the Oxford University in England. So
postdoc.
From where?
She's just finishing her postdoctoral fellowship.
Oh, pardon me. Slap my face. Her postdoc. Congratulations, Caitlin. You have amongst you some of the top level people. Okay. So congratulations, dear. Okay. So anyway, I know I must stop. I could talk on, but I want to hear every one of you. And so I just told Lama, says, don't talk too much. Let the others talk. And here I'm talking. So, all right. I want to thank you again from the bottom of my heart. And you participating in this. It's very essential. You are very essential. And please practice 8 hugs a day, 8 Effie Chow, heart to heart. That means this side, face, and really a nice, hot, warm hug. Because a hug is touch, and touch increases white blood cells. This has been proven. And the white blood cells then improve your immunity. And then 3 belly aching laughs. I mean, that you really double over with pain. And laughter, as you all know in Chinese medicine, is a sound of the heart. So hoi samma in Cantonese, hoi samma means open your heart up by laughing. So laughter is a sound of the heart. So every day, please get at least 8 hugs a day, and there's no accumulation. You get 100 today, you start with number 1 tomorrow, and at least 3 belly aching laughs a day. Please pass. This is my prescription. This is my what do you call it? Signature prescription to everybody on Earth, and even the aliens, the UFOs. I am prescribing them as well. Okay. I love you all. Thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference and sharing your wisdom and also picking up wisdom for the others. Thank you. Thank you. I bow to every one of you. And my love is with you every day, every nanosecond. You can't get away from me. So sorry. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Lama.
Thank you, Dr. Chow. It's really important that you spoke up, because we were really hoping that you would continue sharing your wisdom, your knowledge with us, and also provide us some encouragement to laugh and to study and to research. This is something that is always important, to have a little bit more encouragement, a little bit more inspiration. And we can always...
However, the inspiration is within yourself. You really don't need anybody else. And that's where Qigong we need to get to, is that we are the efficient model. And so therefore, other people will pick up from you. Okay, thank you very much for the compliment. But however, remember, you are the brilliant masters.
Well, on this note, I
David
want to ask...
had a couple of things to say, because he was wanting to say something. Hey, David.
David, please. free to, I can unmute you, or you can unmute yourself and
David, unmute yourself.
practice.
I'm sorry, I missed, what did you want to hear from me?
So just a few sentences more about your background and what your results are.
Like I said, I trained as
Just
an
a couple of minutes.
aerospace engineer, but I've been teaching Tai Chi for about 11 years. And I've decided that the Chinese masters, thousands of years before Sir Isaac Newton and his proverbial apple tree started the scientific approach, but the Chinese masters understood the complexity of what we call gravity, and they just learned to harmonize with it. And I think they might have called it Tao. So rather than all of the research, just learn to live with it is my advice. Thank you.
Oh, that's a brilliant approach, especially to hear that from a rocket scientist. So that is really excellent.
Yeah, that's one of the things my children always like to say, that my daddy's a rocket scientist. But one time somebody asked one of my daughters, they said, what kind of a doctor is your daddy? And she said, I don't know, but he's not the kind that can do you any good. So a little dose of humility there. Thank you.
All right. Well, obviously you also do Tai Chi and teach Tai Chi, and that does a lot of good to those folks who study with you. So I want to thank you for doing that.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And if anyone else would like to speak up, perhaps ask any additional questions or make any additional comments about what you've heard today or what you would like to hear today in our panel discussion, please feel free to unmute yourself or post a question in the chat and direct the question at a particular presenter or at me or Dr. Chow or anyone else that you want to hear from.
I have a question. I would like to, Dr. Shin, I believe, who's measuring the photons of the body. I think that FE expressed interest in this too. I'm very interested in this. Where is this data about going beyond Kirlian photography, which has been around forever, and satisfies nobody. No one listens to Kirlian photography, even though it looks cool and you can see. I'm really interested in the new technology. Is there a website or something we can check out? Question mark.
Yes. All of us emit energy as light, and at the most basic unit is called a biophoton. And what I said is, when you do Tai Chi, Qigong, the emission rate of your biophotons will go up. And we are also experimenting the reverse. So if you're doing something healthy, your light energy goes up. What if you just have external light energy put in your body? Will that, heal you? And now we are referring to laser acupuncture. So instead of putting a needle into the body, what if you put a beam of laser into an acupuncture point? Would that help? So our collaborative research with scientists in Hong Kong shows that laser acupuncture is in fact very, very effective. It could, replace needle acupuncture in many cases, particularly for like joint pain. One project is to measure how, if you put laser beam into acupuncture points around the knee, the finding is that that would be very effective in relieving pain and inflammation without using any needles. So the light coming out is a reflection of your health, but putting light in is also a very helpful thing to do.
Lasers are fun. I am curious to know if you could say a little bit about how you're measuring the light around the body. What technology?
There's a technology called BioWell. Go to biowell.net. It's based on the gas discharge visualizer, which is a Russian apparatus, which Dr. Melinda Connor's been using as well. I've been using it. And you can measure people before and after any kind of activity, and it'll show the flow of energy going through all their meridians, their organ systems.
Biowell.net?
Yes. And it's been around.
Dr. Marion, is that the GDV?
Yes. Yeah, it's the home GDV device.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Because Dr. Korotkov, the founder of it, he has been on our Congress.
Yeah.
He's marvelous.
Yeah, he's a very close friend of ours.
Oh, well, good.
I'm sorry. We need to clarify this, okay? We are talking about light coming out of the body. So that is in the form of biophotons. And that is measured with a very, very sensitive photomultiplier tube that could detect light. What GDV is talking about is not light. That is electrons coming out of the body, hitting the atmosphere, creating light, and it measures that light. So that is not light coming out of the body. That's a reflection of electrons coming out of the body. Those are two different types of measurements. We do both types as well. Right. But
that's the clarity we need.
Jeff is talking about light itself. So that's biophotons coming out of the body directly, and you need a photoamplifier tube to measure that. GDV does not measure that. It measures the electrical signals coming out of the body, hitting the air, creating a spark, much as like lightning. So that's an indirect light.
You're right. And so we're left with, I'm Dr. Tracy Latz. I'm an integrative psychiatrist, spoke at the National Qigong Association meeting a couple of years back. But to use at least a GDV machine where you can easily get one, easily use one, and easily show students or patients or clients how their energy shifts with doing either a routine or a breathing or a meditation to move energy can be very powerful and help people understand more where this is the future of medicine, is looking at a holistic approach of both tying together Western, because if any of us had appendicitis, we'd run to the hospital still, but to keep ourselves healthy or to transform our etheric body, to change the physical body by moving our own energy and helping the average person out there understand that. I'm in the Bible Belt of South. I'm in North Carolina. And so I end up with a lot of people who get worried about, does this go against my religion? And sort of walk them through it to help them understand how this goes right along with whatever spiritual tradition or path that they're on, and the powerful effects it has then not only emotionally and mentally, since I'm a psychiatrist, but also physically in the body to change reaction of gut, reaction of heart rate that we all know, but the average person doesn't. And so I think our job and our mission is to help the average person on the street think of this just like they think about taking my vitamin C for the day or going for a walk. So I say use everything. And at least the GDV isn't a costly device.
The BioWell is a home device, and it costs under $1,500 with a $20 a month subscription. It takes under a minute to measure someone before and a minute to measure them after, and they get a printout. And it's all based
there's a room for every kind.
It's right? Very, very helpful. There's room for everything.
Yes.
Yeah. But you don't have to be a mad scientist to get data.
Although I have had people say that I'm weird, and I have done.
I'm sure we all have been blamed for being weird.
We're all
Anyway, very helpful. But thank you, Effie, for this conference and for the devotion that you've given to this over the years.
It's actually, I play at it. I play at life. I don't work. All my life has been play. So I play hard.
I do.
You have to keep a sense of humor always.
Even at NIH, I play, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Doc Meyer. Yeah. So Shin, you were talking about, you know, the protons and etc. Is there more that you want to share? Because Jeff seemed very interested.
We do have a very important.
We all do too.
A very important conclusion from our work. One of the basic principles of traditional Chinese medicine is the principle of blood is the mother of qi. In the Yellow Emperor's classic from 2,000 years ago, it says blood is the mother of qi. So we investigated that relationship by simultaneously measuring blood flow using laser Doppler and measuring the flow of electricity, the emission of light, emission of heat, and so forth. And we found that there's direct correlation between the two, that anything you do, such as doing Tai Chi or Qigong or getting acupuncture or getting moxibustion or getting massage, you know, or topical herbal medicine, all of these things would improve your blood flow. You can measure that by laser Doppler. And then simultaneously, you would see an increase in body energy as heat, light, and electricity. So that principle is quite provable that if you want to increase your qi, do something that could improve your circulation, such as doing, you know, Tai Chi or getting one of these Chinese medical therapies.
And Shinlin, what is your website so they can check in? I think there's a lot of interest.
This Mind Body Lab, one word, .bio, like biology, .bio, .UCI, like University of California at Irvine, .edu. So Mind Body Lab, .bio, .UCI, .edu.
Right. And I think Marsha's taking note on that. And we'll send it to everybody. Is that right? Okay.
I'm on the website right now and I see him smiling in front of a big microscope there. So I'm going to check it out. Thank you very much.
But I have to say, our research is progressing very fast and the website is not quite up to date.
Well, because of the coronavirus, you know, all this isolation. And the thing is, I have to say, I didn't know when I first worked with Shin. We worked for 15 years now, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, at
and
least.
in the beginning, he would stand like a scientist, giving this and pointing out that and etc. Then he showed me a cover of Tai Chi magazine. And here he was doing Tai Chi on the cover. And I said, what the heck, Shin? Why are you standing behind the podium? You know? And so when he demonstrated the forward movement, I said, get out and demonstrate. And he's beautiful, you know. So combining science and action, this is really, really terrific. And so instead of standing there and pointing to a picture, he is now out of the podium and he's doing some movements, right, Shin?
Well, to avoid conflict of interest, I usually don't mention that I'm a 12th generation inheritor of Chen style Tai Chi, designated by Grandmaster Chen Zhenglei from the Chen family village in China.
No conflict of interest here.
Dr. Shinlin, if you would, you can type the address to your website in the chat box, and that way everybody will have it.
Okay.
Good idea. And everybody else too, right? And everybody else, Marcia, right, can do that. Jeff, you can do that, and the others can do that. I guess I can do that too, right?
Please.
Okay.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank everyone for participating. And just one more question. And that question comes from Dawn, who said, question or topic, love, explanation and how it helps and plays into the entire process for anyone who would like to speak about it. A question, open-ended question for anyone in our panel. Would you like to
repeat the question?
About love. How
Love?
Yes.
What to say about that?
Well, often people who practice Qigong kind of just assume that love is an important energy, but maybe either you, Dr. Chow, or somebody else would like to speak up on that.
Okay, I like to just say a word. Life is love. Love is life. And life is qi, energy. And there is unending. It is limitless. So you have the whole limitless universe that we choose from. So we restrict ourselves by our own imagination. And so let your imagination go and reach the farthest depth of the universe. And that's what NASA is beginning to find, that there is life out there. So I just want to say that we get mired down in our little community, and this practice and that practice is way beyond that. And we have gotten our program, our worth, the way it is because of our way of living. And I think we cannot go back to the norm. We have to create a quantum path life. You know, quantum is all inclusive, and that's where we have to think way beyond ourselves right now. That's it. Thank you. So love is life. Life is love. Kathy, you had your hand up.
Thank you, Effie.
Yes.
I want to say words.
Kathy, please.
Hi, this is a great subject, love. Love is beyond I love you, I like you in terms of I like something, somebody, right? So love is about intention. So if you actually, since the topic today is on scientific research, I recently have discovered a great scientific researcher. Her name is Lynn McTaggart, on the extension. She had a series called The Intention Experiment. So, they collectively had the intention for this leaf to glow more than normal, the other leaves. And they used some measurement to check the lights and on that particular leaf, and that leaf actually glows more than the rest of leaves. So in terms of Qigong and energy work, the intention in the mind and the heart play a huge part in healing, whether it's healing for the body and mind or healing of money energy. We say love, we normally limit ourselves to what our personal preferences. I like your personality, I dislike somebody else's, whatever they are wearing or however they speak. But love is about focusing our energy on things we do want instead of things we don't want. Like 80% of the population talk about things they don't like all the time instead of things they do like, in the form of blaming, complaining, and criticizing and judging, right? So when we think about even worry, even when you worry because you care about someone, you worry that something bad will maybe happen to this person. So in a way, we are sending out a negative energy to that person you care about, because we worry and we think about bad things. We think of the virus, we think of sickness, we think of accidents. So that's, in a broader sense, love is the most powerful qi. If we focus on what we want, the end result.
Hi, this is Tracy Latz again, integrative psychiatrist in North Carolina. love is about agape love, about compassion. And when we open our heart and get into compassion, we open up to be in the flow of everything and feel the connectedness to not only our loved ones, but the people who cut us off in traffic, to all that is. And when we can open up our heart in that compassion, even when things are being done around us or to us that we then remove ourselves from, we can do that still in compassion. And that keeps us in the flow of chi, to allow the healing chi, the vibrant chi to flow through us, but also for healing chi when we step into roles as healers, to allow chi to flow through us to someone else, because none of us is a healer. We just are the conduits for it. But when we practice being in compassion, being in that agape love, then we open up that heart area, that love chi, which is not about the vroom vroom sacral chakra chi. It's about the chi of just looking into someone's eyes and recognizing their light, but also recognizing our own. And that's where a lot of us go awry when we look at other people. And that's why Effie was right on when she says, say, I love me too, because that's compassion for self, to allow all of that to flow in and be open to receive healing, which is how we receive our own self-healing when we do our practice. It gets us instantly out of mind chatter and mind and all the stuff that our ego, that our thoughts and emotions go to, that we end up having to practice so much, telling people just sit and let the mind wander and bring it in and bring it out and bring it in. But to just take someone through the loving, compassionate benefactor meditation, where you just get them to close their eyes and look into the eyes of someone that represents absolute unconditional love to them, then they begin to instantly feel their heart open. And I use that every day, not only when teaching Qigong, Tai Chi to others, or teaching healing practices to others, but when I work with patients, whether they're 5-year-old kids or 82-year-old grandmas or grandpas who are afraid or worrying, because if you get them into their heart, all the anxiety and chatter stops and the love flows and the chi flows. So it should be one of the basic things we do talk to anyone that we're introducing to Qigong, because it makes the practice work. I'll be quiet.
It's the heart leading the mind, not the mind leading the heart, and ending the separation and feeling part of the whole and feeling that you are the whole and the wholeness within the universe. That's true love, I think.
And it's beautiful.
Thank you, Tracy. Very well said. One of the things that I enjoy looking at is how much love is a balance or a combination, integration of affection and attention. We can have affection for something or someone, but if we don't pay attention to it, the energy doesn't really flow. Attention directs energy. Where attention goes, energy flows. And so one of the key principles that I wanted to share with you briefly today is that we learn how to start with ourselves. We learn how to love ourselves, as Dr. Chow pointed it out. And how do we do that? Well, we first learn how to pay attention to ourselves. And something really amazing happens. Like I said, where attention goes, energy flows. When you pay attention to yourself, where does the energy flow? It flows back to you. It actually starts circulating very powerfully within your own organism. It actually is the key to understanding such practices as macrocosmic orbit and similar practices that are about circulation of energy within your organism. And then you feel empowered. then you feel energy that you can apply to good use, whether it's healing other people or doing some creative projects or doing anything else that you would like to affect in the world. And that is essentially my invitation for you folks to explore how much attention you can give to yourself. A lot of us grow up being told it's not polite to be paying attention to yourself because you need to pay attention and take care of everyone else's needs. But we can't really care of anyone else if we are suffocating or just energetically depleted. So let's start with ourselves, and then we can help others. And when we start with ourselves, something also really amazing happens. We show the role model. We become a role model of self-empowerment. Not somebody doing something for other people to empower them, but actually tapping into our own energy resources, which are just as unlimited as we can think of. And so then we inspire other people around us by simply our presence, by simply being the role model of what they aspire to achieve. So that's something that I would like to leave with you today as well. Does anyone?
I'd like to, we have a couple of minutes left, and there are some that haven't spoken. Chu Chuan, Jeff, Tanya, do you have anything to say? Please. Take a second. Chit, you're turning on your mic.
Well, this is the first time I'm listening to a Qigong conference. I come from a very strong science background as well. I'm a sleep respiratory physician in Sydney, Australia. And in the last 2 or 3 years, I got interested in Qigong primarily because of my interest in quantum physics. And the more I got into quantum physics, the more I see that the practicality of it is in the Eastern cultures, like in the Ayurvedic medicine, Qigong. And I'm still very young in this area of research. And so I'm spending more time reading the scientific aspect of it rather than the practice of it, simply because I've done a lot of work in sleep respiratory medicine in terms of research. In fact, I was part of the group that invented the CPAP from Sydney University. And so my direction at the present time is really to absorb more from you guys, so that hopefully in the future I can be creative and contribute to the knowledge as well. That's
very nice of you to be so humble, but we need new minds. We need young minds in research. So you'll be the upcoming young mind.
I'm not that young. I'm actually 69 and a half.
Oh, you look wonderful. Well, tell us how you will stay so young. Do you know Biong in Australia?
Sorry?
Biong. Do you know Biong?
No.
He's head of the World Qigong Association.
Right.
In Australia. Okay. Well, thank you very much. That's very valuable. I would have hated to have left this without hearing from you. What about the others? Anybody else? Jeff, Tanya? Yeah. Hi, Tanya.
Well, Effie, I want to say, I first came to your World Qigong Congress in 2004.
Wow.
That was the first time I came. And you were doing Qigong at 6 o'clock in the morning for free. And I showed up every morning. I had my mat like there. Yeah. It changed my life because I met several other teachers at that event that influenced me a lot. I think you have changed a lot of lives without knowing, without knowing. We all owe you.
That's the intent, is that we have to let our egos go. It's not us, it's everybody. Okay, I hope everybody remembers that. And that's what the purpose of the Congress. I hope 10 years from now, 100 years from now, the Congress will continue, and we sit in our rocking chairs. Oh no, we'll be running around and say, remember.
No rocking chair for this one. Yeah.
And Tanya, you had your hand up. Thank you, Jeff, very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And you've got a long way. So
Yes.
long way. Terrific. Thank you, Tanya.
Yeah.
I think how many minutes do we have left? Just a couple of minutes?
Yeah, I'll be quick. I don't know if somebody else wants to say something as well. I'm also very new to the field. Studied with David Baudry at the Noble Movement Academy, and I come from a dance choreography background, so I rather see that as like my embodied science. I was looked further into neuroscience and all of these things, especially into plasticity and fascia. And so I'm really curious about, what fascia work can be combined with Qigong. And because I truly believe that fascia work increases blood flow and all sorts of other flows. So that's kind of my interest. Thank you.
Well,
I hope you folks will get in touch with each other. And that's the advantage when we had our personal, conferences. But now you have to depend upon the website and the email. But I hope you will personally get in touch with different people. Okay. And I think, Jeff, how about Jeff?
Well, I think I've said everything, and I'm just super grateful for being on this Congress. And I believe that Ming Tong, I don't know where he's at, but I really love his energy too. And I think just everybody who's really doing the Qigong and just keep doing it. And whether you're practicing in a field or a waterfall or you're in your apartment on Zoom, you just got to keep doing it and stay strong, because the alternative is not very good. So we got Qigong strong. Thank you.
And this is why the Qigong East West Academy of Healing Arts and the Congress is a family. You are part of a family. And that was our intention. So you will be with us until you pass on to the other life. And we'll be there too as well, right? We'll be there. All right. So thank you.
I'll share a moment, and I want to speak to Ming Tong's whereabouts. He's in the state of New Mexico, which is my home state. And it's special because their motto is the land of enchantment. So having begun my life there, I can say that has set in place an energy where we talk about the geometrics of people. The geometric energy of that state is powerful. It's enchanting. So I encourage all of you to take a visit there if you haven't been there yet. My field of study, I'm a licensed mental health counselor and have been a teacher. And what fascinates me most and brings me into this work is learning to read energy, which is learning to read people so that I can return energy that is a contribution to who they are and what they are creating in their life. I am always learning, right, Dr. Chow?
We all are.
Always learning.
You're learning from us and I'm learning from you.
Yes, and the learning to read energy is when we get to the point where we don't need any machines to tell us, that we can step into a room and understand the energy of all the people and the space and the history of that, and then contribute to it. That's the research I'm a part of. Excellent,
Marcia. Well, thank you for sharing that. And also thank you for helping us. I want to just give you a shout out that Marcia has been an awesome contributor to this Congress. Without her help, we wouldn't have been able to pull it off. So thank you, Marcia. This is a really important work that you did.
And so the team is Lama and Marcia. To give them both a hand. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I would like to conclude our gathering today. this one, we continue with a series of presentations. Jeff Primack is coming on at 2 o'clock Pacific time. Just click the link on his name and his video will pop up. And so does it also for other presenters, Dr. Simon Roger and Dr. Sonia Gamey, concluding our program today. But that's not all. We will also have a gala event that we are going to be offering to you, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So I look forward to seeing you all very soon.
Everybody give a hug. Everybody give a hug. Hug, hug, hug. And get your 8 hugs in the day, at least. Thank you. Love you all.